सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। We're in verse 17. From sattva arises knowledge, and from rajas greed. From tamas arises heedlessness and delusion, and also ignorance. He's summarizing the idea. From sattva arises knowledge. Knowledge means the hunger for knowledge, not knowledge per se. Remember, knowledge always comes with effort. Nothing gets produced in the world without effort. So it is not saying, as you know, you become knowledgeable person when you are sattvic. That's not the case. The hunger for knowledge comes. See, and that the hunger for knowledge works exactly like hunger for your stomach. The basic two hungers are natural. You see, hunger of the stomach and hunger of the body. That is natural. Even to animals, they have that. The hunger to procreate. You see, that is natural for the body. Any body wants to procreate. It is ingrained in that. There is no need for you to do anything about it. For all purpose, you cannot do anything about it, strictly speaking. You can't do anything with reference to your hunger. You can fast, but you can't stop the stomach feeling hungry. That is not possible. You can say, I'm not going to eat. And you can force the body not to have anything. That is possible. But then, hunger cannot be stopped. That's what we call as the first two layers of hunger, which is natural for all. Everyone experiences that. Even plants experience it. Animals experience it. Humans experience it. But then, the hunger for knowledge is exclusive only for human. Other creatures don't have the hunger for knowledge. See, they are not curious. A dog is not interested to learn how to sniff and figure out a drug. He is not interested. We train that because we lack the capacity to sniff. Because you are so gross. So you don't have the sensitivity. He has a sensitivity, so we are using that. But then on his own, does he have any interest to know? His reference is only these two. Any inquisitiveness or any investigation, any sort of processing that happens in animals, it's only for these two. Stomach, body. You see, hunger to feed this body, hunger to replicate the body. That's it. Hunger for knowledge is what is referred to as exclusive for humans. And in humans, do you think everybody has the hunger for knowledge? Even amongst humans, we don't see everyone is having the desire to know. That's why this hunger for knowledge is given as a potential for humans. Nature has not said, I will make you hungry for knowledge also. If that's the case, you don't have to teach. You don't need to go to school. You don't have to go to anything. No one has to come and teach you that you should eat when you are hungry. You don't go to school, no, for that, I suppose. When you feel sleepy, sleep. What is education, sir? Class is going on. What is a class going on? Whenever you are hungry, eat. Whenever you feel like sleepy, sleep. You don't do those things. When you are thirsty, drink liquid. You can't say no, drink water. You have to specify no. Don't drink carbonated. You drink water. To say that. So, hunger for knowledge is what he is referring to as from sattva arises knowledge. So don't take it literally, because many people take it as literally, saying, okay, once I become sattvic, I'll become knowledgeable person. No. For gaining knowledge, there is a specific process. If you have to gain knowledge in mathematics, there is a specific proper process. If you have to gain knowledge in economics, there is another. The method that is used to gain knowledge of mathematics cannot be used for economics. Similarly, you cannot use that same for dance. I'm going to create a mathematical formula for dancer. You can't do all that. Each knowledge needs to be gained with that specific effort. In the context of the class, we discuss about knowledge. Generally, we refer only to knowledge of the self. In this setup, you see, that doesn't mean knowledge means only this. So he is not referring only to the knowledge of the self here. So here, when he says from sattva arises knowledge, is including the terrestrial knowledge also. You see, it's not only transcendental knowledge. Even the terrestrial knowledge comes. But if you are really having the hunger for knowledge, can the terrestrial knowledge satiate you? Is the next question. You learn mathematics, you learn economics, you learn music, and then does that knowledge satiate you, or it triggers more? You see, it's not satiated. Exactly like when you drink Pepsi, Coke, when you are thirsty, it looks like as though your thirst is quenched. But factually, what is happening? It dehydrates and makes the body seek more. It dehydrates and makes the body seek more. So that's the difficulty here. See, so when we say this sattva arises knowledge, can terrestrial knowledge satiate you, your hunger? The terrestrial knowledge is like having Pepsi. That is next layer. You're all with me. First thing we say, knowledge doesn't mean you become intelligent. Because of sattvic person, you become intelligent. Not necessarily. You see, all sattvic people are very smart, sir. There's no need, please. Then we say, then what is he saying? Then we say it's not knowledge, it is hunger for knowledge. Then we move to the study about knowledge. What knowledge? Knowledge means knowledge of the terrestrial, transcendental. Which one he is referring to, sir? We'll say he refers to both. Then we move one more step. See, this is how you study. It says, from sattva arises knowledge. How you should study that? This is how you go about. Then you say, no, it is not just terrestrial knowledge, because terrestrial knowledge will never give that satiation. So if you want to have that satiation, you have to come to Vedanta, the end of knowledge. See, then we can connect. So what is the knowledge he is referring to, sir? The knowledge he is referring to here is the transcendental knowledge. Then we ask the question, what is transcendental knowledge? A knowledge with which you are able to understand what is dharma and what is adharma, what is satya and what is mithya, or what is real and what is unreal. The knowledge with which you are able to understand this is satyam, this is mithya, this is dharma, this is adharma. That is that knowledge that arises finally out of sattva. Don't say knowledge of the self arises from sattva. Why? I'm not saying it is. Knowledge of the self comes. Sattva, from sattva arises. Knowledge of the self means what will happen? We are creating a cause and effect relationship between sattva and atmajnana. Atmajnana has no cause. Remember. So you cannot say, I will develop more and more sattva, as a result of which I am gaining more and more knowledge of the self. Knowledge of the self you will not get. You see, so here when we say transcendental knowledge, what is the transcendental knowledge referred to here? Is the knowledge that gives you a clarity on what is dharma, what is adharma, what is satya, what is mithya. With that knowledge, you do something and keep waiting. You see that? You do all that, and then what you have to do? Finally, you have to wait. One day, hope that realization will happen. Atmajnana will dawn. Chandogya Upanishad beautifully says, Brahman chooses whom it should reveal. Classic way of explaining it. Brahman chooses. He makes a lottery ticket. He chooses, okay, and this will, okay, realize. Let him realize. Why they say is because it's nothing to do with your effort. It's exactly like you send a letter to requesting the Prime Minister to meet. Okay. Just because you have sent the letter to the Prime Minister doesn't mean he will give time, no? Prime Minister chooses who he should meet. Yeah. Another country's president also may be calling. He says, he is in a meeting. He will not leave the meeting and come running and take the call. You see, Prime Minister chooses to give appointment. Local Prime Minister for a few years. Even the longest term, even if you say 15 years maximum. And then US 10 years, 8 years, no? 8 years only, 4 plus 4. 8 years only there. You can't do more than that. I am the president for how many? 8 years. This fellow is the president of the universe eternally. You think because you sent an application, he chooses. Same way. This is just a projection. It's just a visualization. Don't take it literally, please. So he is going to pick people. So who is going to pick? Whoever he likes, he will pick. It will amount to those things. Finally, okay, Brahman is going to choose. The Suresh Rao is a risky fellow. No, reject him. Realize the problem. Brahman will be in trouble. Waiting list. And then RAC, confirm ticket. Yama will do that. Brahman will not do all that. Yama gives, waiting list. When you are in the ICU, what? RAC. Right. And then ticket confirmed. All of them. Rest are all what? Ella waiting list. Is knowledge here is not bringing. Otherwise, you are creating a direct cause and effect relationship. There is no cause and effect relationship between sattva guna and realization. So here be careful. When he says from sattva arises knowledge, you should know how to decode it. Rest is easy because we are familiar with it. Sattva தான் problem. Rajas tamas ரொம்ப easy. All that you have to do is stand in front of the mirror. That's all. How do you understand Rajas tamas? Very complicated. ரொம்ப இல்ல. Nothing you have to do. Keep a mirror. Selfie you take. Mirror கூட not necessary. Mobile phone you take a selfie and see. அதுதான் Rajas and tamas. From Rajas arises what? Greed. Greed. Asking for more and more and more. Wanting more, wanting more, wanting more. That's Rajas. He's not even saying from Rajas arises desire. He says, he's very particular. He says it is lobha. See, lobitum comes. Little more, little more, little more. That wanting to acquire more and more and more. Rajas. Tamas he is becoming very descriptive. Rajas he just says states and moves. Tamas he is more descriptive. He says tamas arises heedlessness, pramada, delusion, moha, and ajnanam, ignorance. What is ajnanam? What is ignorance? The definitions it should be fingertips. In the scriptures, when they say ajnanam, they don't refer to you don't not knowing. You don't know that you don't know. That's called ajnanam. Which means you believe that you know when you don't know. So what is ajnanam? Ajnanam equals knowledge. You're all with me? What is ajnanam is not ignorance. Ajnanam is knowledge. Knowing when you really don't know. It's called ajnanam. Ignorance. Moha is further development. Moha. Moha means where you have a confused understanding. A wrong understanding. That's called moha. Or you're so confused, you don't make a choice. You know what this economists now, the modern economists, they say choice paralysis. They say there's a choice paralysis. What to buy? Which mobile phone to buy? Which jeans pant? You go to this brand factory. Not been recently, but I'm saying years back. Just like that, we go and see how many varieties jeans pant. About 30 varieties of jeans pant is there. Which one you are going to choose? And you go to the trial room and they say, you can try that, sir. You go to a trial room, put it on, come back. You go to the trial room, put it on, come back. You can try and try and try and try and try. Finally, what do you do? I'll come back later. You can't decide what to choose. You want to buy a car. What is your budget? Any budget you say there is 15 cars available. Which one you are going to choose? So finally, what you do? And you have to take always informed choices. You can't just take blind choice. Blindly, you should not choose. Because blindly you choose Naka, you will be taken for a ride. You do all that investigation and finally you make a wrong choice. That's moha. The delusion. You are so indecisive. Delusion means moha, means it is indecisive. And when you are not able to take any one, always the problem is what? You choose one, the problem is you are discarding the other. You are rejecting the other. And always the law of life is what? Grass is greener at the other side. So whatever you have rejected will always look like a better choice, better option. You missed a chance. You missed a chance. And 2-3 times that happens in your life, what you do next time? Next choice of yours is going to be what? And then what is going to happen? This will look greener. Divorce rate of the first marriage, 50 plus. Divorce rate of the second marriage, 60 plus. Divorce rate of the third marriage, 80 plus. Fourth marriage never happens. See the statistics. Is increasing. In fact, what should be the case? Second marriage and third marriage should last more now. But then second marriage lifespan is much less compared to the first. That's why in India we don't have that problem. We book for 7 Janmas. No issues. Anyway, it doesn't make any difference. See, you are on off case, I am on off case. And then what is the search here for? All off case. In that, which one is going to be better? Always the problem is this. As you keep seeing the more choices, more options, more possibilities, more and more you go into that paralysis. More and more you go into the paralysis, more and more you will have the tendency to postpone the decision. When you postpone taking a decision, action is going to be procrastinated. On tamas. So essentially what is tamas he says here is delusion means what? Procrastination. We'll do it later. We'll do it later. We'll do it later. What is doing it later? Why you would say that? Is because making a choice now, you don't want to lose out the best. If I was saying, I just missed 6 months if I had waited, I would have got the new version of the scooter. Old versions, the e-bike, there is a problem. Charging. They have to bring one unit and fix. 6 months later, sir, they changed the whole thing. Now you just require normal, 3-pin. Now the scooters that's coming now, we don't require that, special socket and all these things need not be installed. So which means you can charge anywhere. All that you require is just a 3-pin. Mixie, you fix, no? 6 amps, 15. 15, no, that is. 15 amps. Socket if you have, enough. And our fellows will find one. Change that also, no? From 5 amps to 15 amps, you just have to plug one and extra one fit. Anywhere you can get charged. And for the 6 months, I should have waited, sir. So every time he sees that scooter is what now? 6 months I should have waited. 6 months I should have waited. You know, I had two. No one told her. So I'm saying her after 25 years. After the wedding got over, 1 week later I got 2 proposals. Good CV. I said with the photo also. I said, think about more. I said, don't show it in front of her. Now what is it? I got a proposal there, I missed it. I got a proposal there, I missed it. What you will do? Life. Moha, I missed. And last time I missed, next time I should not miss. So therefore, what I'm going to do? You see, which means what? I need to wait and gather more data. Let us do little more study. Let us do little more study. Let us do little more study. By then, you have already got a lot of them. Doing this investments, insurance, and all these things. They say biggest mistake people make is this: they procrastinate, they delay. And everyone always feels that every investor you ask, no matter at what age they have started investing, all of them will say one thing: you should have started little early. Little early, sir. My father, sold. One of his class students was telling me, every time we used to go to the old airport road, I stopped going with that fellow. He used to take me to the class. I stopped traveling with him because of this. Because every week, I have to hear this. Passing that airport road, there is one huge building. That land was theirs. His father sold it. He says, in 80s he sold, 70s, 80s, something like he sold. Now the property rate, how much he sold that, sir? 500 rupees. He said, 1.5 acres. He just sold it for 500 rupees. Sir. For 500 rupees, if that fellow would have held it, and then the fellow says, I'm going to do Shraddham for my father. You think he's going to do Shraddham? He'll be cursing him every month, every year, idiot. What is this? What are we doing? He says, it's postponed. More and more and more and more and more. How much data is sufficient enough for you to take a decision? How much information you require? And you'll always find there is darkness after a point. Any amount of data you get, is it sufficient? Never sufficient. But at what point you are going to arrive at a conclusion? You never arrive at a conclusion. That is a moha. Yes.
So you shared 2 aspects. One is where you can't choose, so you end up procrastinating. The other is you made a choice and you regret it because something else happens. But making a choice and regretting, wouldn't it be just because I'm acting, I'm making a choice?
Now I'm talking about the next choice, not the choice that I have made. Last time I made a choice, as a result of which I am not happy. So next time when I'm giving that option, what I'm going to do?
Then I get stuck.
There I will say what? Last time I made a mistake because of lack of data.
So
let me get more information. Let me get more information. How much information do you want? One other person was asking me, just do a little study about, sometimes back. We're planning to have the lectures, again. Let's do little more, fact finding about the halls in Bangalore. I say, how many halls you want? I've given you 5 halls, right? Little more fact finding. Now you want me to go and check for another 15 halls? So if I give you 20 halls is enough? After that, no discussion with me. They stop contacting me only after that. You see, when you say I want to, of course, there are times where you do require minimal. This is where buddhi comes into picture. See, buddhi is what? Again, go back to the definition. What is intellect? Rendu mark. Discriminative. Not discriminative. What is buddhi? Senior engappa. Seniors alla is here. First row.
Between what is there as a that is more permanent,
Fail.
which is the
At least she got 2 marks. You were failed. What is intellect?
Not allowing to see, like
See what is not obvious.
Huh?
To see what is not obvious.
Give her a clap. Excellent. Ability to see the invisible through the visible. That's called intellect. How many times I've told you? Given the standard example also. Plaiting the hair. How many strings you see? 2. But how many are there? 3. Where is the third? It's invisible. But through the visible, you understand the presence of the invisible. You see, that's called buddhi. So with buddhi, what are you doing? The available data is only 2, but you infer and come to conclusion there are 3. That's called intellect. Intellect is that ability to see something which is not visible, something which is not obvious. Data is obvious. It's there. You see. So with that data, you are able to infer the third. From the available 2, A, B, you infer C, which means now how many data you have? Now how many is there with you? 3. With 2, if you are able to see 3, with 3, you should be able to get the 4. So all that you require is what? Just 2. From 2, you can go on building. How much you are able to build with the minimal data that is given to you is the strength of your intellect. The penetrative capacity we say, what is the penetrative capacity of the intellect? It should see through. What is seeing through? How far you can see? How far you are able to see something and understand? What is understanding? Every understanding is just an information, data. So what is available with you, you add something to it. That adding something is not just a random addition. You see, that's called inferential conclusions. So through inference, you're able to understand certain things. So how many data you require? So for every specific decisions, you fix a parameter. This much data is required. This is the relevant info that is needed. Within that, what you have decided as the relevant information required, if it is missing, then you can say, go and get the data. To take a decision itself, I'm going to wait. Now, how much is required? How much you are able to infer and get. That power is called buddhi. When that power is not in you, totally absent or working reverse, that's called moha. You're all with me? Follow what I'm saying. Moha means this is what we call as misunderstanding or wrong understanding, reverse understanding. All that. Moha. One is ajnana, another one is moha. Another one he gives is that pramada, another beautiful quality of tamas. Fascinating one. What is that pramada? Carelessness. Pramada. Heedless. You are careless with reference to you're heedless towards what? That you need to fill. See that towards I don't care. I don't I don't pay attention to what I don't pay attention. The consequence of actions. Why you are not able to pay attention to that? Because your mind is preoccupied. It's called a pramada. Pramada means preoccupied mind. Like, one thing is common to all of us. We all would have experienced it. Right? You keep something and keep searching for it. What is that? Who kept there? See, you keep something, I search for that, now there's a meaning. Because I have not kept, you kept it. So why? How do I know? Here the case is, you keep something somewhere and then you go on searching for it. You see? Which means, when you have kept, where is the mind? Left it there. Where was your mind at that time? Somewhere. Car key. Where is the car key? I forgot, sir. People leave the car key inside the car and close the door. Then what do you do? You know what to do then? Huh? There are people who I know kept the duplicate key of the bureau inside the bureau. Locker. Asking them, duplicate key for that, bureau. They have. Where is that? She says, inside the bureau. Then what you do then? Where was your mind? That's called a pramada. See, careless. Careless, don't take it. Remember this. Where you are expected to be careful, you are not careful. That's called carelessness. See, where you are supposed to be careful, where you have to pay attention, you don't pay attention. That's called a pramada. It's not that everywhere you have to keep paying attention. Not necessary. It's not necessary. If you have to pay attention to everything, then how you live your life? You can't live. See, you have to pay attention to certain areas. You need not pay attention to certain areas. That clarity you will lack. Why? Because of ajnana and moha. You see that? It's all connected. Because of your ajnana and moha, there is no clarity in terms of where I should be careful, where I need not be careful. Where I don't have to care, it is not my problem. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Where it matters to you, you don't pay attention. Where it doesn't matter to you, you pay attention. That second mistake. That second mistake is moha. First mistake is pramad. Simple. Yes.
You told about the keys on it all. It may be that we are not mindful at that moment.
Exactly. That's what I said. You're not mindful at that moment. What is the hurry? When you're getting out of the car, you should know to take the key with you, no? Right. What has happened then? Mind is somewhere. Because he saw his girlfriend. And his wife is sitting. So what to do now? Escape. So how do you escape then? Or you see something else. Your mind goes off. And you miss here. Where you are expected to be careful, you are not being careful. That's called a pramada. It's not that you have to be careful everywhere. You have to be, you should mindful walking. I've seen people doing that. I do mindful walking, sir. Like a ghost, the fellow walking. I remember ages back in Malaysia, they're standing in the street, chatting, gossiping only. Standing and talking. And fellow was walking, mindfully he was walking, it seems. He walked, came closer. I can see the aura around you. I said, oh, I don't know what to do then. I said, okay, bless me. I said, like Swamiji said, if I have the capacity to bless, I'll bless myself. Why should I bless you? Think I'm mad or what? Allah, I don't know, sir. So I fellow, no. He was refusing to leave. You are there after the Sunday class, Malaysia. We used to have. You are not there. We were standing there, below that SBA. We were standing and talking. He was coming, this fellow. I can never forget that walk of the guy. Like a ghost, literally like ghost, holding his hand straight and like you can't make out whether he is walking or floating. Scary. The other fellows, mindful eating. Every mostrala you should chew. Consciously you got to chew. Mindful watching, they go and stand in front of the flower. I say, why don't you go and stand in front of the leaf? Mindfully watch the leaf. You're going to stand in front of the flower and watch? Don't you realize it's ugly? What is flower? Online poda YouTube. Flower is a private part of the bush. What are you seeing? Mindfully I'm watching. What are you watching? This is mindful watching. You should know what you are watching. If flower, if I watch, it's okay. But other things, if I see, what is it? Have you realized? All these people, they say mindful watching. You should be careful what to do. These are all designed to be done mechanically, where you don't need to pay attention. See, I am going to take bath, consciously. And you got to feel the water flowing all over. So, it must be absolutely crack. Why? Where you have to be mindful, where you need not be mindful, you should be able to understand the difference. Right? Where it's exclusive prerogative or human, that's where you should be mindful. That's the first thing I told you. This hunger is natural. A dog is hungry, it eats. A cow is hungry, it eats. Is it mindful eating? First of all, they don't have mind audience. Then what is mindful eating for them? It's automated. And there you pay so much of attention to. And we have this justification of saying, see, this innocuous actions you should be conscious. First, learn to be conscious where you are supposed to be. And then let it spread it to other aspects. Allow that to spread it to other dimensions, which are automated. You're breathing and you're eating and you're walking and you're talking. All this is what? Talking is not actually speaking. Right. You're breathing and eating and walking and sitting, standing. All this is automatic. It's activity. It's not action. It's not a deliberated, conscious action. You see, it's automated. It's automatic. Body is hungry, it will eat. If it is not hungry, it is not going to eat. It's as simple as that as far as the body is concerned. Where you should be careful, be careful. That's called pramada. Means where you need not be careful. You spend all your energy. Which means you don't have energy to spend in the areas where you have to. Unfortunately, you are not having infinite source of energy with you. If you are having infinite source of energy, then it is possible. Buddha can afford to do it. Why? Because he has infinite source of energy. For you, is there infinite source of energy? Limited source. The moment you say there is a limited source, then you need to know how to ration it, no? Rationing has to be done. Rationing has to be done means you should pay attention to something which is most unique, specific. Then if there is anything left out with you, then you can afford to go and spend it. It's like saying, that common thing we keep commenting, no? All these ladies go and, clean the slum, the sophisticated, elite groups. What they do, sir? They have one NGO. And what they do? They go and clean the slum, give bath to the child there, all those things. And then the lady from the house calls, your child is not taking bath. So she fixes an ayah here. A nanny is fixed to take care of their child in the house. But then they go to the slum and give bath to the child there. Feed them. So who is feeding here? Now what is your first job? First take care here. Then if you have more energy left out, time left out, if you have surplus energy, surplus things, that you can spend there. That is normal. That is correct. That is appropriate. Leaving this here and doing there, then that cannot be considered as seva. That is what then, sir? That's show off. It's a show. It's not service. Why? Because you are having limited resources. Remember, human beings have energy. We have energy at 3 levels. So, resource of energy. One is your normal. Right? One is your normal source. Physical energy, I'm saying. Apply the same to your thought energy also. I'm giving the example of physical, but you have to understand it as stretch to the thought energy as well. It's the same rule. It's difficult at the thought level to explain. To understand is easy. If I have to explain to you, it is difficult. But For you to understand it is easier. So we give the example of physical. Physical energy is what? How do you get the physical energy? You eat, you get energy. You breathe, you get energy. You drink, you get energy. There is X amount of energy you have. And the fellow comes back from office. He says, so tired, so exhausted. Oh, I can't even move. Can you take the remote and give me? Genuinely, he feels he cannot do anything. He is so fatigued, so tired. He says, "Get me a glass of water." You can't tell him, "Go and take." No, he cannot. He is genuinely tired. Suddenly, he hears the alarm, fire alarm. What he is going to do? Please carry me. I says, kitchen is in fire. The whole house is in fire. The fellow is not going to sit in the hall and say, "Oh, please carry me also here. I am so tired." What happens now? From where he gets that energy now? That's a reserve. Remember, that's a reserve. That will be used only during emergency. You will never have an access to that source of energy unless there's an emergency situation. There is a panic. Then you get. And then what will happen? Earlier you are tired, no? Now your tiredness will be how much? 10 times of the first one. That's why you'll always see people get so tired after wedding in the house. After Diwali, everybody gets so tired. What did you do? Crackers, Happy Diwali messages you sent, forwarded, received. That's all you did. But then you say, what, tired? I'm not talking about that tiredness. You see, I'm talking about genuinely tired. Genuinely tired. Because of so much of usage of the body, body's source of energy is limited. That limited source is used, so you are tired. But then there is a reserve being kept always. When you tap that reserve source, that reserve will be tapped only when you feel a pressure, which is what Rajas is all about. Sir, deadline given, na people work, correct? I see a lot of people, take loans. I say, why do you take loan? He says, if there is no loan, I will not be able to work. So if there is loan only will make me, that pressure is needed for me to do something, sir. Examination is there, na, then you study. Otherwise, there's no study. You do all other things. 1 week before exam, you start studying. That pressure is needed. At that time, your ability, have you all observed? The previous day to exam, your level of concentration and your level of understanding, your level of memory, your ability to stay through, everything is there. What we always wonder is, why is it that that's not available to you throughout the semester? 2 days before the exam, you have that. No. Imagine if you had to function in that same intensity for throughout the semester. Is it possible? That's impossible. Why? Because at that time, you are using your reserve energy, which will be available to you, which will get accessed only under pressure, emergency, life and death, survival. When survival is at stake, then you get some strength when energy comes. But that energy will be available to you so long as the threat is there. Once the threat goes, what will happen? The unity that the entire India had pre-independence What happened to that unity post-independence? How can this part of this land should be given to that state? Fight. It's one country, no? Huh? How can this be given there? No, that's not allowed. How can this water be given there? Not allowed. Within the state also, what is it, sir? That district and this district fight. Okay, between two states fight, na, it's okay, understandable. Within the district, within the state, there is a fight between two districts. What district farmers are saying, don't give water to the next protest. Like, stop the road, stop the train, this, that, everything is stopped. Bandh is there. Why? There is a unity. Because there is no threat. As long as there is threat, there is unity. That unity is not out of normal, remember. That will be accessed only wherever there is pressure, wherever there is emergency, wherever there is a survival question, something happens, which will not happen in normal times. Right? Two sources. Then comes the third source. Third source. The third source of energy is called as inspiration. Inspiration. You are inspired. First layer, motivation. Second layer, induced, forced. Third layer is inspiration. When you are inspired, you will get an access to a source of energy which is constant. Constant source of energy. Constant supply. You can afford to be mindful with your eating, your walking, all these things after you have an access to that infinite source. Today, where are you? You are having only gross physical energy only. This, if you are going to be spending for these activities, this side what will happen? And the tragedy is these things are treated as something I'm doing as spiritual. I'm doing some evolutionary activity. It's a tragedy. Remember, tamas. Remember these three. Pramada, Moha, Ajnana. It's a fascinating one. My favorite is tamas. That's why my father kept my name Ishvara. Ishvara is tamas, cosmic deep sleeper. I can relate to it better. Rajas is boring. Sattva, no connection. Sattva, no connection. Tamas is very interesting. Yes.
So, like you said, inspiration. Even though if we hear some stories or something, we are inspired for a few days. After 15 days or something, it wears off.
That's not inspiration. What is it then? That's why I told you. Condition of inspiration is what?
Constant.
Constant. 220 watts means it will get 220. It will not be 19, it will not be 21. 220 watts means 220 watts. That is there. That's what they call, no? Stabilizer, no? They put a stabilizer. What is a stabilizer is there for? It stabilizes the whole thing and gives the constant supply. Output is constant, no fluctuations. The physical energy, the gross first layer of energy, which I'm just using the word physical energy because want of words. I don't know what else to call it. So I'm just saying physical energy. It includes thought energy also. Remember, when I say physical energy, it includes thought energy also. The first layer of energy is where it is purely, but fluctuations are there. There is ups and downs here, ups and downs here, ups and downs here, ups and downs here, ups and downs here. Then you have another access to a new source of energy. The source itself is different. But that source you get accessed only pressure, emergency. You should be pressurized. You see, under that pressure, you should feel the pressure. Remember, not that I am giving pressure to you, not from external, please. If I feel the pressure, as a result of which I will get that extra energy. Have you not seen this? Even the actions that you normally cannot do, you do when you are angry. You see? Experience. The things which you don't even lift in normal times, you lift when you are in anger. The fellow says, I will not do this, I will not do this. The fellow leaves and goes. You get so angry. You think, I can't lift, I will lift it and take it and put it there, and you lift it and put it there. And then what happens? 4 days sprayed. This is sprayed, that is sprayed, this happened, that happened, all this. That's what is that? You go up and then fall. Precipitous fall, actually. Normal energy levels is what, sir? Normal spike, normal down. It's not a recession condition. Market is not in recession. But always you will say on any day you will see market fluctuating. That is normal. See, suddenly what will happen? Spike. Suddenly if it goes up means what? You should be ready that it is going to fall. And when it is falling, we know what? It will pick up again. You don't have to worry. It will come up. But when and all, you don't know. Timing cannot be fixed. But definitely it is going to pick up. This is market understanding. But in the energy level, what is happening, sir? That emergency resource, you have an access, use it, and suddenly what will happen? The moment that is managed, what is going to be the condition here? Completely lost. That's what I call as reserve energy. Reserve. And then you have an access to eternal energy. These practices were done by those people who are having access to the eternal energy. That style cannot be practiced by you. You see, they will practice. It doesn't matter. Can you practice that? You can say, sir, one day I want to be like that. That is correct. See, that is fine. Should it be exclusive prerogative of only those people, sir? No. That access to that emergency is given to everybody. Similarly, the access to that eternal source of energy is also there with everyone. Only problem is what? Are you accessing? Are you establishing a link? You say, even if I am in deep sleep, we have, I remember once I had this actually. Had a fracture. I mean, not a fracture, like it's just a, sort of a ligament tear, like a tear I had. Can't, get up. Sit and, getting up is so tough for me. So I had to go and stay. When I'd been to my Mysore, my dad's place, they were staying there in Mysore. So I said, instead of sitting here, I said I'll go there. So I went there for resting. Because here means, I have to do this, something will be there. There, my mother is there. So will not allow me to do anything. Support. It's easy. One day, sitting in the evening, having tea, he got my phone saying, Swamiji online. You have no idea. I have this habit of, anytime I speak to him, whatever the condition is, I stand up, even though over phone. I don't sit and talk. Automatically I stand up. She just said, Swamiji, and she's not pranking. He was there on the line. So we called up for something else, not to inquire. He doesn't even know. Something he called up. Swamiji online. I stood up. I finished the talk and then I sat down. Is it emergency? You see the difference? What is the source of inspiration? Now, that source of energy which you get an access to is totally different. How do you know the difference between emergency and inspiration? Sir, I tapped emergency, I tapped inspiration. What is the difference? When it is spiking, it will appear the same. After that, what happens? After that, you don't fall back to tiredness. You see that? It's not that there's never a fall, actually speaking. You see, it just sustains. Even if you come back to that normal energy level only. You don't fall down, actually. You're all with me? How do you know the difference between emergency access and inspirational access? Inspirational access also will spike. Emergency also will spike. But difference is, after that, what happens? We'll decide. After that, if you are falling lower than your normal, emergency. You don't feel you have fallen at all. Then you are having access to the inspirational source. That inspirational source of energy is what was accessed on their own or through association. Through association with someone who has an access to that, you get a vicarious access. See, that's what I think. Appaya Dikshidhar, I think. Yeah, he gives a beautiful explanation about Guru. It's always Guru is equated to the Chintamani. Chintamani, alchemist. It's a stone. If anything, it touches, it turns that into gold. It touches and it turns into gold. People are saying, Guru is like that. He said, no, that's not a Guru. Then what? Chintamani is a poor example. Why? He doesn't do that. What he does is, this Chintamani is very different. Any metal comes and touches this, don't turn into gold, that turns into another Chintamani. You're all with me. Chumma, useless. I turn, iron into gold. You touch that, you keep in that, then it will become gold. It's not transformation. That is not what Guru does. Guru doesn't do this sort of transformation because it's useless. The Guru's transformative power is to convert this iron into another Chintamani. That is the power of a Guru. That's what I'm referring to. See, they have an access. When you have an access with that source, there is always a possibility of you getting that through them. That is a seeker's source of energy, sadhak's energy. Then comes the siddha's energy, where you have become Chintamani yourself. Then you have that eternal source. At that time, you can afford to do all this. What? Mindful walking, mindful eating, mindful bathing, all that you can do. Not when you are having only source of energy for you is physical energy. At times, you will get an access to emergency. Then don't do all that, please. If you do that, those actions will be called as what? Tamasic. I am not saying, Krishna saying. Don't, say, Ishwaran says that. Ishwaran against, mindful walking. I am not against mindful walking. I am against walking only. 4 people should carry you. Better. Mindful walking, mindful eating. Just eat. Mindlessly don't eat. Right? Eat. But you don't have to have, every morsel I'm going to. That is pramada. Spending your energy on things where you should be careful, where you should be attentive, where you should be mindful, be. Where it is not required, don't waste your energy there. Don't spend there. Believing that is going to help you to grow. Impossible. It will not. That doesn't mean did Buddha didn't do that way, sir. Of course, he did it. You mean to say Shankara was mindless? No. He was, every walk of his is mindful walking. Every word of his is mindful. Even though Krishna is speaking, every sentence, every word of his is mindful talk. It's not just, speaking, please. It is carefully constructed, carefully defined. But then, can we afford to do that right now? Can we imitate that and believing that we are practicing? No. By practicing, okay, it's easy. Romba confusion. In your language, I would say. By practicing the lifestyle of Mukesh Ambani, you will not become a Mukesh Ambani. At least this you should be able to understand. By practicing his lifestyle, can you become him? Not possible. Why? First of all, you cannot practice his lifestyle. How many rooms he has in his house? 3-bedroom flat. Tadinginato. Who you say? Has 27 floors, 400 plus employees to take care of 4 people. Okay, now there are 5. To take care of the 5, I don't know, for the 5th one, how many they have added, I don't know. Maybe they would have added more people also. 400 employees are there, taking care of. Imagine that fellow loses his car key. In which floor he has kept? No wonder he has 400 employees, obviously. First of all, to inform that 400 people the car key is missing, find out. Then they have to ask which car key. And then at least you should remember the car number, no? 3 cars if you have, you can't remember the car number. I don't know how many cars he has. Can you practice it, first of all? Can you live the way he lived? He lives. Not possible. If materially itself you can't imitate, how on earth you believe it is possible at the spiritual level? That's not tragedy. That is the tamas here. Yes, pramada, moha, ajnana. Hmm? Next week, you start the class with 18 plus chanting. Okay? But don't tell me again. Sir, we are halfway through 17th verse over. My material exhausted. I can't think more than this. So you move to the next one. No more.